Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Olajide Bello. Many thanks for joining us. The Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress have agreed to suspend the planned nationwide strike after constituting a committee to review 7-point framework. This is coming after a long session between the representatives of the federal government and union leaders.
The federal government, the TUC and the NLC to establish a joint committee to review the proposal for any wage increase or award and establish a framework and timeline for implementation. The federal government, the TUC and the NLC to review World Bank Finance Cash Transfer Scheme and propose inclusion of low-income earners in the program.
At our joint date, we'll go into more specifics to make sure this knotty issue is resolved. Thank you very much.
All we want to encourage government is to take this seriously, because this government is just coming. This may be the first agreement that is being signed by this government that was inaugurated on May 29 by the President Tinubu's administration. So I want us to commit to get these issues resolved as soon as possible.
Scheduled to meet on June 19, 2023 to agree on the implementation framework. National Acting Chairman of the Joint Health Sector Union, Johasu, Dr. Obina Ogbonna, has confirmed the suspension of the strike embarked upon by members of the union. Dr. Ogbonna said the strike was suspended due to progress made during the engagement with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said the health workers called a meeting shortly after meeting with President and decided to call off the strike and give a 21-day timeline to the government. Possible solutions to managing effects of the fuel subsidy removal are being discussed as top priority, and experts at Good Morning Nigeria are of the opinion that government must build a synergy among agencies and adopt inflation management strategies to mitigate the effects. Dennis Temple reports.
The guests are unanimous that there should be no going back on fuel subsidy removal. They, however, condemned the practice of selling old subsidized petrol for a new price, emphasizing that consumers need to be compensated through tax reliefs and salary increment.
It's like medicine. You know, when you are sick and they are giving medicine, definitely the medicine will be bitter. But the health that you will get back by far, outweighs the bitterness that you experience in the medicine. That's how I look at this subsidy removal.
And even if we're going to deregulate the market, there has to be a framework around it. There is absolutely no framework developed by the regulator. So I think that's where we need to zero in and say, look, if we need this process to go seamlessly, the regulator must be up and doing.
They canvassed that governors should be involved in ongoing negotiations with organized labor, and that Tinubu administration should tackle corruption in the oil and gas sector, as well as sale of the nation's refined crude oil in neighboring countries.
We in IPMAN, though our national body, we are meeting by Wednesday because we welcome the removal of subsidy.
Decided what the state government should do is to sit down, do the arithmetic
be part
of what
the
is
negotiation
going on.
itself.
So you will call all the transport associations, sit them down. They are responsible people. In transport, they will understand. The people in Lagos understood. The same thing should be done in FCT and all the various states.
As the president said, it's not going to be rosy, but at the end, the Nigerian will appreciate. I will also believe that we are going to appreciate.
There is also advocacy for government to have a blueprint for effective management of savings that will accrue from fuel subsidy removal. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Sorry about that mix-up. That was actually Lydia Sampson's report. Now, after the removal of fuel subsidy is announced by Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the subsequent release of official pump prices by the NNPC scheduled to take effect on July 1st, 2023, the impact of road transportation has become a topic of public discussion Francis Udoja, who conducted an investigation across various motor parks in Lokoja metropolis, provides us with a report on the current situation.
The geographical location of Lokoja, the capital of Kogi State, makes it a transit state for several states of the Federation, including the FCT. However, the recent revelation about the removal of fuel subsidy seems to have reduced the frequency of interstate and internal movement due to the hike in transportation fares. For instance, the fare for traveling from Lokoja to Lagos, which used to range between 9,000 and 11,000 naira, has now increased to 15,000 naira. Similarly, the fare for Lokoja to Abuja has risen from 3,000 to 4,000 naira, and the fare for Kaduna has increased from 6,000 to 8,000 naira.
I was to move from Abuja down to Auchi, but I went to the park. So many people are standing, they cannot afford. And I have to break my journey from Abuja to Lokoja, from Lokoja to where I'm going, just to see how I can save.
Within Kogi State, the fare for traveling from Lokoja to Kaba, which used to be 2,000 naira, has now gone up to 3,000 naira. The fare for Anyigba, which was 2,000 naira, has also increased to 3,000 naira. Additionally, the fare for Lokoja to Okene has risen from 1,500 to 2,500 naira.
Everywhere was just calm. There is no passengers just because of the fuel price.
The government should help the people to subsidize things in one way or the other.
Commuters and travelers are praying for the government to expedite action in reducing the effects of the fuel subsidy removal, not only for the transportation system, but also for other sectors of the economy. From Lokoja, Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Still on subsidy, residents of Onitsha in Anambra State have reacted variously to the removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. While some are wholly in support of the move, others say government should find ways of cushioning the effect on citizens. Franklin Oyekachi reports.
Onitsha, as a commercial nerve center of the southeast zone, witnesses heavy vehicular traffic on daily basis. But the reverse seems to be the case with the removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. The development has given rise to fewer vehicles on the road, while transporters as well as marketers lament the attendant consequences.
The smallest market or trader somewhere is waiting to collect money to find a way to buy fuel for his generator, buy fuel for his transportation, and do other things. And when this hike increases, it affects the entire economy.
After the passengers, they always complain that the price is too much.
Others, however, say the move is a welcome development, considering what they termed the massive fraud that characterized fuel subsidy.
Anybody that loves this country must support the federal government for the removal. People are being used just to create problems because people are making billions, over 400 billion. Being spent a month.
We improve in development and other things and infrastructures. So I support the subsidy removal.
They called on the federal government to make wider consultations with manufacturers, civil servants as well as businessmen in order to reach a consensus on the issue.
We are pleading to everybody. Let them go back and negotiate what will be the palliative for working class. If working class are comfortable, those of us who are in private business will also be comfortable.
Petrol sells between 550 naira to 600 naira in Onitsha. Franklin Oyekachi, NTA News.
Ogun State Government's Special Task Force on monitoring sales of petrol have visited retail outlets in Obafemi Owode local government area and parts of Ogun State East Senatorial District, where some operators were caught shortchanging customers and were made to readjust their meters. Yemi Dalimo has more.
Worried by the effect of the subsidy removal on residents of Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun set up a special task force to monitor correct sales of the product to motorists at the right quantity demanded by the customers, and also ensure that no filling stations are seen hoarding the products to make illegal gains. The task force immediately swung into action by visiting filling stations, checking their underground storage tanks to ensure that none of them hoard the product, and also confirm that the right quantity are dispensed to customers using the approved gauge and a new 5-liter keg.
Checked your underground tank, and we see that we have, in essence, we looked at your meter now, it's 520.
While some filling stations visited without notice were commended for selling without slight adjustment of meters, some were found culpable of under-dispensing, thereby cheating unsuspecting customers, such as this filling station in Ijebu-Ode, who stored over 179,000 liters of petrol in its tank, but chose to be selling at higher price during the night to customers with its adjusted meter.
What we have done is to force them to adjust the meter appropriately. If I want to get 2 liters now, I should get correct 2 liters.
Motorists commend Ogun State government for taking the step to save them from sharp practices of petrol attendants and their management.
It's good. I believe with the grace of God we will cope.
No, it's a welcome idea by the state government. It's really nice.
I'm checking, we have fuel, are we selling, then what is our quantity? Yeah, I'm very happy for
the Special Task Force on Sale of Petroleum Products say it will continue to visit more filling stations across the state to ensure compliance to approved standards. In Abuja, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
And away from subsidy matters, senators approved President Bola Tinubu's request seeking approval for the appointment of 20 special advisors. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
This is the last Tuesday in the life of the 9th Senate. In the next 2 days, it will join the annals of history. Already, the Red Chamber is beginning to have the farewell feelings. Senators seen in groups taking pictures for remembrance. Shortly, the red carpet activities dissolved into the day's legislative business. Plenary commenced with President of the Senate Ahmad Lawan reading the first presidential request from President Bola Tinubu seeking the approval of 20 special advisors.
I write to request the kind consideration of the Senate to appoint 20 special advisors.
The urgency of the request required an accelerated consideration, and because there were no names attached to the request, Senate immediately approved it.
That the Senate approves the request of Mr. President CNC for the 20 his request on the 20 special advisors. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We feel that this is something that is of utmost urgency. He wants to appoint his advisors, but he needs our approval here.
Senate passed the Nigerian Police Pension Board Establishment Bill, which seeks to create a separate pension scheme for the Nigerian police, as it approved the report of its ad hoc committee that investigated alleged uneven distribution of loans to the 6 geopolitical zones by development banks.
Provide the legal and institutional framework for the establishment of Police Pension Board to administer the pension scheme for personnel of the Nigerian Police Force and exempt same from the contributory pension scheme.
The federal government of Nigeria, through the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, should take necessary measures to harmonize all its various financial interventions program.
I want to urge those who cannot meet the standard requirements of the Development Bank of Nigeria to go to other banks that may relax such requirements.
Senate stepped down the concurrence of the National Inland Waterways Authority Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023. The 9th Senate is to hold valedictory session on Thursday, the 8th of June 2023. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has, in line with the provisions of Section 151 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, approved the request of President Bola Tinubu to appoint 20 special advisors. The communication containing the request was read during plenary Tuesday and was thereafter approved. The House noted that the appointees will assist the President to discharge duties Meanwhile, the House has commended the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, for accepting to continue dialogue with the federal government against its earlier planned strike over removal of subsidy on premium motor spirit. The House, in response to a motion from Onyema Idem, noted the likely impact of strike action on the economy and livelihoods of the people, adding that the directive to shelve the planned strike was in the interest of the nation. House members therefore urged the federal government to ensure it implements the resolutions reached at its meeting with Labour. The lawmakers were confident that the billions of dollars spent on subsidy from 2015 to date, which stood at an estimated $10 billion, could be channeled to development projects in the country. We now join Adiola in our Lagos Network Center for news making the rounds from that axis. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Olajide. Thank you for joining us in Lagos. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced the removal of fuel subsidy. This generated reactions from industry players who say the jinx has been broken as it is one step to curbing excessive spending, corruption, and will create a free market. They are hopeful it will trigger economic growth sooner than expected. Amaka Owo interacted with a cross-section of industry players and now reports.
The removal of fuel subsidy has been an issue of national discourse, with several unsuccessful attempts by previous administrations to implement the policy, thereby spending as much as 400 billion naira monthly, as confirmed by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Experts across relevant sectors of the nation's economy say the present administration has taken the bull by the horn in the interest of the economy.
Our largest expense in terms of recurrent expenditure is subsidy payments, and what suffers are basic infrastructure, primary health care, education. I see those as avenues where these funds can actually be properly deployed to.
We either remove subsidy with our eyes open or we remove subsidy with our eyes closed. Now, when I use the word with our eyes open is that it makes it easier for you to plan systematically towards it, and you are able to arrive at a position whereby we will feel the pain, you are able to control the pain.
The pronouncement, they also say, is of great significance as it led to bullish impact in the stock markets, the highest since November 2022.
And this is one step, an important step, but one step on improved economic management that's going to bring it to us. And just as a signal of confidence, I mean, the stock market increased in Nigeria by about 5% after Tinubu's speech, which just shows that people really have the sense that he's on the right economic path.
No doubt the subsidy removal is impacting the lives of Nigerians. They believe the government is not resting on its oars in that aspect. They call for collaborations in areas necessary to ensure that payments of fuel subsidy belongs to the dispensable past. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
And from the subsidy removal, we'll move on now to curbing smuggling. While renewing its strategy of prioritizing prosecution of smugglers to serve as warning to will-be offenders, the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service is rejigging its operations. The result has led to the seizure of close to 10,000 parcels of cannabis valued at 427 million naira in Lagos. Michael Olaleye reports.
Rising to the demand of the tricky game orchestrated by smugglers led to the seizure of 79 categories of items in the last 4 weeks. But intercepting these 9,857 parcels of cannabis sativa along the creeks in the Lekki-Ajah area of Lagos is mind-blowing for the Federal Operations Unit Zone A. The acting controller, obviously worried by the power of drugs to influence crime, described the consignment as the single largest impounded this year, with a pledge to get to the root of the import, which source is traced to Ghana.
The vehicle, as you are seeing it, has no registration. We have made frantic attempts to get any document inside the truck, no single document. But the young man behind us here is helping us to get to the owner of the truck and the cannabis sativa.
The surest bet in going forward is the willingness of the customs to press charges once investigation is concluded, as recent convictions secured are propelling the unit to continue on this path. However, the unending tales of smuggling foreign rice using different means of conveyance is still a major issue, as close to 7,000 bags were intercepted in May.
For as long as they learn to go against the rules of the game, to go against the constitution, we have to go after them. And when we go after them, we'll pick them and jail them accordingly.
The Federal Operations Unit Zone A, however, reiterates the need for Nigerians to respect government's fiscal policy in order to expand the nation's economic base. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Lagos for now. Nationwide will continue with Olajide Bello in Abuja after this break. But remember that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. To stay with us.
The rumor that our nation will break up, even perish. They have even redesigned the maps. Yet we are here. We have stumbled at times, but resilience and diversity have kept us going, and we will keep going. As a citizen, we declare as one, unified people, devoted to one unified nation, national cause, that as long as this world exists, Nigeria shall exist.
Nigeria means unity.
Nigeria means freedom to me.
Nigeria means greatness to me.
Nigeria is indivisible. There is nothing you can do. We all have to savage it together and learn to love each other. We are indivisible.
As a mother and a leader, I will always preach for peace and unity in this country, because that is the only thing that will give us progress.
Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. And it is the woman that does that.
What are we doing as a nation to first of all settle our teeming populace, especially
NTA's political package with a third eye on the nation's political scene? I am Fisa Ogunfuyi. Welcome.
You have to be very careful giving space to people who are obviously sponsored to further the agenda of some other groups.
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions in a closed door sessions. Some of these issues, some of the problems bedeviling of their.
In fact, between June 1st and July 17, 19-point-something billion has left the coffers of the NDDC.
I can say my constituency, they need everything because we don't have anything.
Your skill is key to your professional growth in the competitive broadcast media industry. Take advantage of the following programs specially packaged by NTA Television College Jos to upgrade your skill. Marketing in the era of digital broadcast. Date 13th June to 23rd June 2023, 2 weeks. Drama Production Workshop. Date 3rd July to 21st July 2023, 3 weeks. Intermediate Online News Reporting Skills. Date 24th July to 11th August 2023, 3 weeks. The course fee for the 2-week course is 120,000 Naira, while the fee for the 3-week course is 150,000 Naira only. Accommodation inclusive. All courses will hold at NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For further inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. NTA Television College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be. Registrar Announcer.
Many thanks, Adela, and welcome back to Abuja. The legal team of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 25th February 2023 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has sought adjournment from the Presidential Election Petition Court to enable them tidy up their documents. Austin Ibe of our Judiciary Desk reports that the application was made by the late counsel, Eyita Ojagede, following the incomprehensive schedules of the documents he sought to tender before the court. At the commencement of hearing, he moved to tender certified true copies of Forms EC8Bs from 10 local government areas of Kogi State out of the 21 local government areas splitted in the schedules of documents, saying there await remaining ones from INEC. This move did not go down well with the court, who enjoined the counsel to tidy up his documents in line with the pleadings as agreed in the pre-trial report. To this end, the court granted his application and adjourned to Wednesday, 7th June 2023, for further hearing of the petition. A Federal High Court presided over by Justice Inyang Eko has awarded a 20 million naira fine against Chuks Nwachukwu, a lawyer representing 5 FCT residents, in a suit seeking an order to stop the May 29 swearing-in of President Bola Tinubu. Delivering judgment on Tuesday, Justice Eko struck out the suit on the grounds that the plaintiffs lack local standing to institute the matter. Justice Eko consequently ordered the lawyer to pay the Attorney General of the Federation and Chief Justice of Nigeria, listed as first and second defendants in the case, the sum of 10 million naira each. The judge who condemned Nwachukwu's comments in the media said with his interview, if the lawyer was in the courtroom, he would have been barred from practicing until he appears before the legal practitioners' disciplinary committee to determine whether he is fit to practice the profession. But since he is not in court, he made an order directing the registrar to forward all the processes to the legal practitioners' disciplinary committee to determine whether he is fit to practice the profession. He also directed that the order of the court be served on the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court, the AGF, and the Nigerian Bar Association. The 5 FCT residents, including Ayagbunam Okoye, David Azza, Jeffrey Uche, Osang Paul, and Chibuike Nwachukwu, had filed the suit through their lawyer for an order of the court to stop the inauguration of Tinubu and his vice, Senator Kashim Shettima, slated for May 29. Justice Eko said Chuks Nwachukwu counsel for the plaintiffs instigated the suit and merely got the plaintiffs to stand in as parties while he handles the suit as a lawyer, describing the act as unprofessional conduct. The Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, has dismissed the petition filed by the Action Alliance AA candidate Babatunde Ajala against Governor Seyi Makinde's victory. Ayomiku Ajibola has details of the judgment.
Unanimous ruling dismissed the petition and awarded a cost of 100,000 naira in favor of INEC and 250,000 naira each in favor of Governor Seyi Makinde and the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Earlier, Council to Action Alliance and its candidate, Etibo King, had informed the tribunal that the party and its candidate had decided to discontinue the case. He then urged the tribunal to strike out the case in the interest of the state.
We actually withdrew the matter in the interest of justice, in the interest of peace, in the interest of tranquility in Oyo State.
Developing our electoral laws, I think a threshold should be created. But if you have not won XY number of votes, which constitute 25% of the total number of votes in the whole state, you should not come to the tribunal. Because if not, on serious petitions like this will abound. And I'm sure there are many like this all over the country.
It will be recalled that Governor Seyi Makinde was declared the winner of the governorship election held on Saturday, 18th of March this year. But Action Alliance and its candidate approached the tribunal and called for the cancellation of the election result, owing to the alleged exclusion of the name of its candidate. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Money laundering, counter-terrorism and trans-border crimes are some of the challenges which the nation grapples with in recent time. In tackling these issues, the judiciary must ensure speedy dispensation of justice to combat these crimes. Dele Atumbi of our judiciary desk reports that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, advocates diligent prosecution of all criminal cases in the dockets of the courts.
In this all are justices of the Supreme Court, those of the Court of Appeal, and judges of the Federal High Court. These judicial officers converge in Abuja to evaluate evidence in investigation, prosecution, and trial of terrorism, money laundering, and trans-border crimes. For the participants, their coming together is to enhance their capacity on current laws and procedures in handling money laundering, counter-terrorism, and trans-border crimes. The judicial officers pay attention to the probative value attached to evidence adduced in this gen of cases. They agree that their being up to date in terms of applicable laws will assist greatly in curbing criminality.
It will not be out of place to emphasize that there is a correlation between transparent and efficient judiciaries, stable economies, and credible international financial systems. This is because timely, transparent, and efficient adjudication, including enforcement of laws which curb terrorism and money laundering, among others, creates incentives for investor confidence and availability of robust credits from the international community, thereby encouraging higher levels of economic development.
It will be well on us to come together to forge a common front in combating terrorism-related activities and money laundering through the instrumentality of the administration of criminal justice system.
The judicial officers identify recent legislations such as Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, as well as Proceeds of Crime Act 2022, will serve as vital tools in speedy dispensation of these cases. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
And away from the judiciary, normal annual Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia is being observed after 3 years of restrictions to contain outbreak of COVID-19. Our correspondent Usman Aliyu is among pilgrims from Nigeria. He says so far nearly 30,000 have been airlifted. His report.
Large number of Muslims for Hajj pilgrimage increases daily in Medina and Mecca, the homes to Islamic holiest sites. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, only 1,000 resident pilgrims in Saudi Arabia were allowed. Last year, regulated number of 1 million pilgrims performed the Hajj. Now the restrictions are over. No masking anymore. New normals of the COVID-19 protocols are gone. Once more, a return to pre-pandemic time. The biggest world Islamic gathering is expected to be attended by more than 2 million people this year. In Medina, the Muslims visit the holy mosque of Prophet Muhammad, pray and offer salutations. His grave is in the mosque, together with Abu Bakr and Umar, his closest companions. It is also expected that pilgrims pay a visit to the cemetery just outside the Prophet Mosque called the Baqi'ah, where other companions of the Prophet are buried. There are similar Islamic historical sites for the visit, such as Uhud. Some Nigerian pilgrims have concluded their stay in Medina and moved to Mecca. They performed Umrah, the Lesser Hajj. However, a pilgrim, an FCT contingent, Amina Abubakar Ibrahim, is detained by authorities at King Abdulaziz Airport in Jeddah because she lost her passport, which was later discovered after the flight that brought them returned to Lagos. Officials of the National Hajj Commission assured that the matter will be resolved as they make contact for the passport to be brought. There are many issues with some pilgrims with regards to vital international travel documents. Many of them do not understand the implications of negligence with such vital papers. As such, it is one of the major challenges Hajj officials are waiting to deal with. In Medina, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
Abubakar is standing by in our Maiduguri Network Center for more on Nationwide. Abubakar, it's over to you.
It's always nice to see you, Olajide, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. The need for staff of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital to operate strictly in accordance with civil service rules and regulations, was the thrust of a capacity development training as part of the 2022 capital project. The training covered both staff from specialized medical services providing departments, administration, and finance. Fatima Isa will now bring us more details.
The capacity building was mainly to ensure staff from various departments are abreast of what is happening around their environment, as the teaching hospital is leaving no stone unturned in saying that optimum service delivery is achieved. Declaring the workshop open, Chairman Board of Management of the institution, Hadi Ukasha Tugumel, represented was of the view that the training was apt.
Kudos to the top management of the BMTH that have been very proactive as far as human capacity development is concerned.
The Chief Medical Director, Professor Ahmed Ahijo, was emphatic that public service knowledge is key to effective and efficient healthcare delivery, hence their commitment in that regard.
We must be very fast with the knowledge of the public service. That's the only way we can treat things effectively.
In a paper titled Ethics in Workplace, Director, Human Resources, Federal Ministry of Health, Hassan Sallau, stressed the need for staff to always be guided by the public service rules in everything they do in the workplace.
A lot of reforms government has taken in terms of IPSAS, JIPMIS, IPs were all meant to what? To reduce pilferage. You should be efficient with time. You should be efficient with resources.
In Maiduguri, Fatima Isa, NTA News.
Away from that now to tell you that as part of the post-insurgency recovery phase, government at all levels and partners are making concerted efforts towards reconstruction of educational institutions, enrollment, improved teaching and learning. Major strides by Borno State government towards repositioning basic education was supported by an international non-governmental organization, Save the Children, donating vehicle and computers to enhance monitoring for effective teaching and learning. Zainab Adam has the rest of the story.
Reviving the education sector remains one of the cardinal objectives of the Zulum administration. Hence, primary education is accorded priority in laying a solid foundation for pupils in the state. Professor Bula Makagu thanked the non-governmental organization Save the Children for the concern to basic education, saying laptops will go a long way in ensuring proper monitoring and evaluation of schools by the board.
Is in education, and going through the catalogue of your achievements in northeastern part of Nigeria, you'll see the list is just uncountable.
On his part, member 2 of the board, Lawan Sadiq Abdullah, commended government's commitment to eradicate illiteracy across the state, stressing that the government, Professor Zulum, has given topmost priority to revival of education at the grassroots level. Presenting the items, the acting manager education sector of the organization, Nebat Mela, said the Prado Land Cruiser Jeep and 5 ThinkPad laptops followed a pledge made by the organization to the board and urged them to use them for the purpose intended. Also speaking, Save the Children supply chain manager, James Wandera, and the deputy division programs, Chachu Tachaha, said children are special gifts and supporting their education as well as psychosocial development is key, calling on all and sundry to support children to actualize their dreams. In Maiduguri, Zainab Adam, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're on to Nationwide on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. Let's take a commercial break now, but Mina in Enugu will be back with more stories for us shortly.
We shall defend the nation from terror and all form of criminality that threaten the peace and stability of our country. We shall remodel our economy to bring our growth and develop the GDP much better than we have today. I assure you. Do that through job creation, food security, and an end to extreme poverty.
I'm fascinated with the discourse on national monuments and assets and how much is being done to preserve and
Look into the
celebrate
language
our
issue.
heritage.
We have turned English to become like a pride value in our own cultural values.
It's not cash transfer. It's not a COVID-19.
Invasion 1897 was a deliberate
You know, many of these people coming to the urban areas now.
These and applications, there are terms and conditions that
of course it is the union of two people, a man and a woman coming together.
My name is Nnamdi Odipo.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori.
Tune in to DSTV channel 251, Go TV channel.
Our administration will govern you only on your behalf, but never rule over you. We shall consult and dialogue, but never dictate. We shall reach out to all, but never put down a single person for holding views contrary to our own.
Welcome back, and sorry about that. Little H will reestablish contact when we are fully ready. In commemorating World Environment Day 2023, environmentalists are pushing for a pay-as-you-throw policy modeled after the polluters pay principle to improve plastic waste management from the point of generation to the stage of disposal and recycle. Onengiye Fineface reports.
Plastic is a solution to many problems because it is durable. This durability is also the problem with plastic. Rather than continuously produce more plastic, experts want people to concentrate on reusing and recycling existing ones. This requires creating awareness and sensitization on the effects of plastic pollution and proper disposal of plastic wastes.
Going to shopping malls or whatever, you can go with your bag. That's your bag, you can use it for years without touching plastic. It is not a must that you must touch plastic. And if at all you use plastic or you touch plastic, let it be recycled within the shortest possible time.
They say traditional methods like composition, landfill, source reduction and incineration are no longer sustainable. Instead, there is the recommendation to incentivize proper plastic waste disposal, as well as enforce punitive measures contained in existing waste management regulations in the country.
There should be a location. People are being put in that place. They are the private sector. Okay, if you have a waste, bring it to social time, or you make a call. I want to carry it from your house, and you pay for it. Do you know how people are paying for how much they are paying for Mebolas? So people pay 500 naira, 1,000 naira. Do you know if you are collecting even 10,000 naira from people, 1,000 everybody every month, you know how many vehicles you can get from there and treat waste?
Providing solutions to plastic pollution is the focus of the 2023 commemoration of World Environment Day. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
The Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPODEC, is leading in the advocacy to address environmental degradation from plastic waste to create wealth from waste. This is as the Commission maps out modalities to plant trees on 40 hectares of land across its benefiting state as part of activities to commemorate this year's World Environment Day. Fatima Aliu reports.
World Environment Day is commemorated annually on the 5th of June to encourage and create awareness on action for the protection of the environment. The Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, as a critical stakeholder in addressing ecological challenges, took the step to sensitize people of its benefiting communities on better ways to safeguard the environment, especially as it relates to this year's theme, Solution to Plastic Pollution. The Commission used the celebration to plant more than 100 trees across Niger State, expected to be replicated in the 6 states of the Commission. Managing Director IPADEC Abubakar Sadiq Yilwa was represented at the event.
IPADEC being an environmental organization, we felt we must not miss it. We have articulated to work on afforestation program. In Niger State here, we have to give them about 40 hectares of afforestation project.
The solution is to make plastic pollution waste as a resource and to provide alternatives for people to use. Ultimately, if you make it a way of generating income, a lot of people will key in.
Other stakeholders commended IPADEC for taking the bold step in highlighting the importance of protecting the health of the environment as it affects the well-being of people and their economic development. In Mina, Fatima Aliu, NTA News.
43 critical stakeholders in flood mitigation are in Abuja to map out strategies towards effective flood mitigation and response. For the Capital Territory Administration FCT, a permanent secretary, Olushade Adeshola, says a stitch in time on measures for flood mitigation is very necessary as the hydrological agencies have warned. Sophia Uche reports that FCT FEMA is the host.
Most complicating flooding are alterations on the land during development, diversions of water from its natural source, blockage of water from its channels, improper waste management, and so on. Permanent Secretary FCTA Olushade Adeshola says synergy, advocacy, and measures must be strengthened to ensure no loss of life or property in this year's flood forecast.
The entire land in FCT is vested in the federal government. There are no local lands. Area councils cannot allocate land. Chiefs have no land to sell. When you buy from them, you are likely to buy a problem land.
Director General FCT FEMA Abbas Idris says the plan involves the 6 area councils and flood-prone areas.
We are going to have a water training for our divers because they have been used to probably one river, and so if the water system and the weather changes, they will find it very difficult to really carry out rescue.
That is why the Permanent Secretary and the Director General of FCT Emergency Management Agency quickly asked us to put this meeting together so that critical stakeholders will come up with more mitigative measures, more than what we put in place last year.
FCT FEMA says attitudinal change on the part of Nigerians will go a long way in changing the narrative. The stakeholders' resolution emphasized stronger collaboration to mitigate flooding. Sophia Uche, NTA News.
And our next port of call is Benin, where Ogochukwuka is standing by.
Today, and aligning with the last 3 reports there on environment, experts in environmental matters are calling for proactive action from all citizens in tackling the visible threats posed by plastics in the country. This was at a gathering put together by the Edo State government to commemorate this year's World Environment Day. Elizabeth Omoko reports.
Statistics show that more than 400 million tons of plastics are produced per year, and only 3% are recycled, leaving the other 97% to break down in oceans and landfills, where they harm food chain and the environment. These statistics underline the urgency to address the plastic pollution crisis. It is for this reason these stakeholders have
Just tell Edo Lights now that bring 3 bags of plastic, we get 5 liters of fuel, and see whether you will not see everybody picking all the plastic.
Solutions to plastic pollution demands concerted effort.
Programs like this, to be successful, you must enter into partnerships with NGOs, people in government, people in policy. That essentially is to ensure the success and the survival and, in fact, the sustainability of this program.
Rewriting the unpleasant narrative about Edo is one among other key areas the Edo state government tends to achieve.
The integrated waste management system would allow for the sorting, bagging, and transfer of waste to a collection point before final evacuation to the dump site.
Experts hope that momentum from this event can spur industry players to use their power to invest in and implement large-scale solutions to overcome and reverse the plastic pollution crisis. In Benin, Elizabeth Omoko, NTA News.
And now the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Ewa II, has called on Nigerians to identify with the administration of President Bola Tinubu and its policies to build a better Nigeria, even as he calls for continued peace in communities in Edo State to attract more development to rural areas. This was when the monarch received traditional rulers from Esan land in Edo Central Senatorial Districts. Agatha Egware-Ojo reports.
Nigeria is on the threshold of another political history as Edo gradually prepares to follow suit in the governorship race. The Onojis from various towns and communities, as well as different organizations and groups from Esan extraction, have been on consultations, shopping for the best aspirant from the area to lead Edo. This visit to the Oba with leadership of Esan Oba Initiative and Esan Liberation Movement was to formally inform him of their intention and seek his prayers.
Sincerely, I appeal to Your Majesty, to your subjects, to support our ambition in this land to produce the next governor of Edo State.
For the Oba, the unity of Nigeria and Edo State is non-negotiable. He says he will continue to be a rallying point for his people, irrespective of their location.
The Benin throne, as I've always said, is non-partisan, and they themselves, the traditional rulers, have always advised to stay away from politics as much as possible. I respect the traditional rulers. I will please ask of you to allow me consult quietly with leaders of thought, the chiefs that are on the matter that you have brought to me now. And we will revert to you quietly.
They are satisfied with the outcome of the meeting. In Benin, Agatha Egware-Ojo, NTA News.
Olajide, it's back to you.
Thanks, Ogochukuka from our Benin Network Center. And up next is Sports Update.
In football, match day 2 results of the ongoing MPFL Playoff Super 6 at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena on Monday shows that Eyimba got their first win after a 1-0 victory over Lobby Stars in the first match of the day. The second match between Rivers United and Remo Stars proved to be a classic. Defending champions Rivers United took the lead in the first half, but Remo Stars fought back and got the equalizer and later got a second goal, only for Rivers United to score the equalizer immediately to end the thrilling encounter at 2-2. In the last match of the day, Bendel Insurance kept their unbeaten run as they settled for a 1-1 draw against Sunshine Stars. The table after match day 2 shows that Eyimba and Rivers United are top with 4 points, followed by Remo Stars in third with 2 points, with a superior goal difference over Bendel Insurance in fourth place, while Sunshine Stars and Lobby Stars share the 5th and 6th position as at Monday night.
A very highly competitive game, and thank God that so far they have not disappointed.
I believe that yes, we planned for 3 points today, but unfortunately we were able to get 1 point. We will go back to the drawing board and work harder for the next game. Yes, for me, it's a total victory for the boys. They did their best, but they learned bitterlessly.
In table tennis, it's 7 days to the first World Table Tennis Contender Series in Lagos, Nigeria, from June 12 to 18, 2023. The tournament, which is coming after the just concluded first ITTF World Championship in Africa since 1939, would afford the players to garner more ranking points in their quest to pick tickets for Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Top-rated players from China, Chinese Taipei, Germany, India, and host Nigeria are expected to feature at the tournament at the Indo Sports Hall of the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos.
African junior champion getting to the last 32 in the world. Hopefully the guy who beat him is coming to Lagos. Maybe we'll see a reversal. Lagos, Nigeria now has the best young players across the continent, best young male players across the continent. That's the impact of this tournament from year to year.
To beach handball, the draws for the 2023 beach handball games, scheduled for 24th to 26th in Tunisia, has been made. The draw placed Nigeria in Group B alongside Libya and Togo. With sports updates, Gift George, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.